I'm getting so tired. I'm getting so.
Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Bacon. Welcome to the show, y'all. Look here. I'm going to get right back into it. Now, Sammy, he leaves the hospital. He's pissed. He's trying to find out what's going on. So he goes back to that same spot where he snatched that little boy up right before, a couple of nights before. And he tells me, he said, look, I'm not finna let y'all hurt my family. So he grabbed up one of them. I'm talking about put hands on. He ain't got no pistol on him. Put hands on him. Whooping him good. They all jumping, but he holding his own, right? One of them pull out a knife and hit him. Hit him in his back. He grabbed it back at where the knife is in his back, and he grabbed and turned and grabbed the dude, and he whooping the dude, and now another one jumping another, but he's starting to leak. You know what I'm saying? The blood is coming up out of him real fast, right? So now he's panicking because his heart is beating fast. He's fighting. That's making the blood come out faster, and he's feeling himself getting weak, and he's seen one of them pull up a gun. So he strike out running, try to get away the best he can. So he gets away. And he gets to the house. They stop chasing him. He gets to the house. And he called the ambulance. He called for the ambulance. They come get him. They get him in the ambulance, right? They don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to, without telling them what's going on, he just tell them he got stabbed. He got stabbed. Now guess what happened? Listen to me. The old lady that had gotten robbed, she saw him. She saw him, right? When he was running back to the house. And she saw them young kids, them gang members chasing after him. But see, this time, it wasn't dark. And she could see their faces. And she told them, the police who she thought it was. Because she knew these kids, they grew up in the neighborhood with her. She watched these kids grow up. And she thought she knew who it was, so she told them. Police bumped down on them. And they find, without Sammy's help, they find the knife on one of the dudes that had stuck Sammy in the back. Yeah. So they get pictures of their arrest. It's like 4 of them. They arrest them. And they got the pictures, so they take the pictures to the hospital. Now the whole family's in the hospital. Sammy, Lisa, and the little boy. All of them in the hospital. And the police know this is getting out of hand and they got to do something about it. So they go into the room. Now, Sammy's in a different room. They go into the room with the pictures of the people that he got to fighting with. Every one of them is on that mugshot board. They said, do you recognize any one of them? And he said, no. He really wouldn't even look at the paper. So they said, look, if you're not going to help us, we can't help you. And if you don't care about yourself, that's fine. But what about your family in this next room down laying in this hospital? Do you care anything about them? Now, Sammy didn't realize, listen to me now. Sammy didn't realize that Lisa was standing outside the door. They asked her not to come in yet because they thought that this was going to be a problem trying to get him to point these people out. So she stood outside his hospital room and she overheard him say, I ain't telling y'all nothing. So the officer asked him again, if you don't care about yourself, you need to care about them, because if we don't keep them in jail, this is not going to end. How do you think this ends? And he was like, I ain't got nothing to say. About that time, Lisa stepped into the room. And she said, so you don't care about us? He looked at her, he said, baby, it ain't like that. It ain't like that. She said, well, what is it like? The police, they moved out the way and let her get beside the bed. She said, what is it like then? She said, you value that street code over me and our son? And he looked at her and he's struggling. I mean, he was really struggling. Tears coming down his face and all this and that, right? And she said, if you don't tell them what's going on, don't come home. There's no reason for you to be there. if you can't protect us? He said, I can protect you. She said, how? By going back to the penitentiary? Is that how you protect us? By doing something to take you away from us for the rest of your life, like his daddy? Is that how you protect us? So he looking at her. He said, you don't understand. She said, no, I understand. You don't get it. This rule you live by ain't good for us. It ain't good for the community. And she told him the old lady that he wouldn't help, she's the one that called the police trying to help him. And he laying there in the bed, his mind is just spinning out of control. And when Sammy was telling me this story, all I could think of, I don't know if y'all ever seen Spider-Man, right? But I saw this show called Spider-Man one time. When Spider-Man, he had just discovered these powers, and so he was wrestling trying to get some extra money, right? So he can buy him a new uniform or whatever he was trying to do. But anyway, he was wrestling, so he went to get his money from the promoter. And the promoter was in the back at the time being robbed, and when the dude finished robbing, he ran out and ran past Spider-Man and bumped him, right? And when he bumped Spider-Man, he heard the promoter saying, stop him, he just robbed me. Spider-Man was like, that ain't my problem. You feel what I'm saying? This is at the beginning. He said, that ain't my problem. And he walked on in the back and he said, man, give me my money. And he telling him, that's who got your money, go get him. You didn't even want to stop him to help me. So when he goes back out to the car, his uncle was in the car. His uncle, I think it was his uncle. It was granddad, whoever it was. And the dude that had robbed the promoter bumped into him, he had killed him. He had killed his family member. So Spider-Man was like torn up. And when Sammy was telling me the story, that's what kept pumping in my head. When you had an opportunity to do something, you didn't do it because you felt like this code was more important. That's what I'm telling Sammy. And he was like, Joe T, man, he said, look, I ain't even see it that way, man. I said, but tell me how you ended up back in the penitentiary. He said, man, you know how it go. I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go. I went and I found dude and them because they let him out of jail because I wouldn't say nothing. He said, I went and found them and I whooped them. And one of them, I hurt real bad. And they went to the police and filed charges on me. And then he looked at me and said, ain't that weak? And I'm looking at him. At first, I didn't know what to say. And then I went on and said it. I said, you got to be the stupidest fools. I don't understand what it is you was thinking was going to happen. Even if they didn't go say nothing to the police, right? What do you think they were going to do? Just walk away from that whooping? He said, man, the code is the code. We got to take care of the business. I said, we don't put the police in nothing. I said, so you still believe in that? You still believe that you need to take care of problems yourself? You still think that you got to take care of them in the streets? You really believe that? And he was like, yeah. And I looked at him and I said, how'd that work out for you? How'd that work out for you? I said, here's what people got twisted. Check this out. We live in a codified country, right? If somebody do something to you, you got the right to defend yourself, right? But then, further than that, you put yourself at risk of being taken away from your family. You got to make a choice if your family is important or your freedom is important. You feel what I'm saying? Which one, and how you going to exercise to be able to be the man of the house and keep everybody safe, be a provider, be somebody they can depend on, and live by this code that puts all of that on the other side of the street. How do you do that? He said, Joe T, it is what it is. I said, and that's why you got these 15 years, man. I said, you got 15 fresh years that you got to do. I said, what Lee said? Man, that's over with. I said, who you got now? I said, man, I ain't got nobody. You know how I go. He said, I got the streets. I said, the streets are cold, especially at night. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.